What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and today's video asks just one question. Did Kanye West steal the Yeezy Pod or shoe sock idea? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a new bombshell accusation, which says that Kanye apparently stole the idea from none other than Balenciaga. And it was with this upcoming release of the album Vultures that we saw some brand new merch, including this Yeezy Pod that we'll be talking about here in just a moment. Now, before I get started, I want to go ahead and give a special shout out to my homie Strain Beats, who's curating the beats for this video. And if you like what you see, you might as well go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, as well as join our free Discord. Now back to the Yeezy Pods. Like I mentioned, Kanye's in the middle of rolling out his brand new album Vultures, and as part of the album rollout merch, these $200 Yeezy Pods were available for pre-order just earlier in the week. And it's with these Yeezy Pods that we really get our first look and taste at the upcoming future of Yeezy footwear. And in doing my research for this video, I saw my first complaints regarding this Yeezy Pod. They come from Mike the Ruler, who's actually a close associate of Demna and works with Balenciaga. And he goes on to then say that Kanye basically forced the hand of Balenciaga to drop their own version of the sock shoe to not lose the hype and innovation. Throughout the rest of this video, you'll see screenshots from Mike the Ruler, who goes on to basically explain that Kanye stole the idea from Demna. And Demna is of course the creative director and designer for Balenciaga for the last couple of years now. And when I first saw these complaints go viral, I wondered to myself, who the hell is Mike the Ruler and why does his opinion matter? When researching, I saw that he is connected to Balenciaga and has been working under them for quite some time, and he's actually had a presence online for quite a few years, so he presumably knows what he's talking about, at least in the fashion world. Now, if you've been paying attention to Kanye at all, ever since really that Donda release, you'll notice that his footwear style and preference has definitely changed. And I do think it's interesting that Kanye decided to roll with this sock shoe as his next project in footwear. Now, Mike would then go on to also share some additional images of these prototypes on his Instagram story, basically claiming that Kanye was so lazy that he stole the exact sole and didn't even change it. He then goes on to mention that 2019 was probably the lowest point for Demna, the creative director for Balenciaga, in terms of hype and just overall attention. Demna also has his own streetwear brand Vetements, which was pretty popular and had its own run, and as you can see, back in the day, he was a collaborator and friend of Kanye. So it's honestly not too surprising if there is some cross-inspiration, if you get what I'm trying to say here. And Mike would also go on to share that although 2019 was not Demna's greatest year, it was also a creative year for him. He shared these early sample images of Vetements' own sock shoe from 2019, or a whole 4 years ago. And in between posting some more proof that he was pretty much relevant around that Balenciaga era, Mike would also go on to mention that Kanye was thinking about incorporating the Balenciaga Speed sole as part of his upcoming Yeezy Pods. I think it's interesting, and when I think about sock shoes, I immediately think about these Balenciaga Speed trainers that were really hype and popular just a couple of years ago. Now, one thing I want you guys to notice from this photo right here of the sock shoe sole from Balenciaga is where the actual placement of the word Balenciaga is down at the bottom. If you can tell from the original product video, these actually fold, and what Mike then goes on to prove in his Instagram stories is that Kanye and his team essentially took the same model or sample of this Balenciaga sock shoe. They then cut out where that Balenciaga logo is, and they basically replaced it in such a way that that shoe is now able to fold, essentially creating new functionality from the original shoe while also removing the branding associated with it. Now, as I'm sure you've seen in these past few images, Mike also goes to claim that Kanye wanted to have heel designs for the men's pairs, which I think would be definitely interesting and met with a little bit of resistance. However, Kanye is always cutting edge and ahead of the game, so maybe he knows something we don't. And to really tie it all together with this Yeezy Pod scandal, Mike laid out the timeline. According to him, essentially Kanye and the team visited Italy, where they were able to get direct samples of these prototypes from Balenciaga's factories before they were made. Kanye and the team then worked with one of Balenciaga's people, who at the time was risking being fired, to then redesign this to some extent. Per their suggestion, they basically cut out the Balenciaga logo and redesigned it in such a way that nobody would know that it had anything to do with Balenciaga. Now, of course, these are all just accusations at the moment. However, and I'm also curious how many truths there are to all of these accusations that are sprinkled in here. Mike definitely has the credentials and has been around the game for quite some time, and he does bring up a valid point in that Kanye used to be good friends with Demna, and you would think that the way Kanye's moving that he actually hates Balenciaga because he said it himself. However, it was just earlier this year that Kanye was spotted taking his new wife Bianca on a Balenciaga shopping spree. So I kind of get where everyone's coming from. Now, from Kanye's mouth himself, he had this to say.
Fuck you, fuck Balenciaga, fuck Cedric.
Buy the Yeezy Pods, buy the Yeezy Pods.
Fuck Gap.
And I do want to point out, to be fair, that while I don't necessarily believe that Kanye straight up stole this design, it's not the first time that he's been accused throughout the years of actually finessing smaller artists. Unfortunately, this happens often, and here's another example.
How Kanye West's Yeezy Gaps borrowed my design. These glasses that are all over social media, worn by countless celebrities, were my design, and they were taken without my knowledge. I was discovered by Kanye West's team a year ago by Digital Nas, who is a creative for Kanye West. I gave Kanye West's manager several of my designs to give to Ye, and a note that says how much of a hero Kanye was to me and how I would just love to work with him. Fast forward to about a month ago where I'm getting tagged and people asking me about this picture of Kanye West and Lil Durk. I asked Digital Nas about the situation that's going on and what him and his creatives think about it, and I get the response back, "That's life, Frankie. This shouldn't happen to anyone, and we have to stand up for this injustice, even if it is against people we care about. If you know anybody associated with Kanye West or Yeezy Gap, please get in contact with me. Please help me by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Follow my social media accounts. It costs you nothing, but by turning a blind eye, it costs me and other creatives everything."
And even as a big fan, sometimes it's kind of hard to believe this stuff even with proof, but then I just remembered I even most recently covered another accusation with stolen merch designs, so I'll let you guys be the judge. Now ultimately, I do think that these sock shoes are the next wave for Kanye in the Yeezy empire, in a similar way that he influenced footwear and shaped everything with his own Yeezy slide line, as you guys can see here. Now, of course, as we're all waiting in anticipation for some more Vultures news, I did see that there is some more Vultures merch that's also going to be coming out, which is a great sign because I'm not too happy with the first wave or two. And from everything I can gather online, it does look like Kanye and his team are still working to wrap up this album. Now at the moment, Vultures is slated to release this upcoming December 31st, and I do hope we get to see this release. It's definitely had its own controversy surrounding it even before its release, and if you'd like to know a little bit more surrounding it, I actually made a video covering the controversy surrounding the album cover, which you guys can see here. With that being said, I'd love to know what you guys think about this video, and what you think about the overall direction of Kanye. I mentioned in one of my most recent videos that the tide of comments and attitude towards him has started to become more negative, and I was curious what you guys think about it in general. I know that he can definitely be polarizing and off-putting, so I'd love to know what your thoughts are today. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know in the comments if you think that Kanye did steal this idea from Balenciaga, or if you just don't care. As always, you guys, remember, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Remember to stay safe out there, and as always, it's lit. Straight up, and peace.